Last time on Square Roots, we wade through the Hogwarts bloodbath, take a long nap off a short pier, and exercise a little boy. You better squat, Connor!
Hello and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Matthew Van Zandt, and I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-hosts, the best co-hosts in the history of podcasts, John, best co-host in the history of podcasts, Brandon.
Oh, thank you.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa. Wait.
Also a best co-host in the history of podcasts.
Oh, well, thank you very much. But I feel like, let me see, you got Matt, you got John, you got me. Some things missing.
Where's Jim?
We're really fucking this whole series up, huh? Like, I missed an episode because I was sick. Jim is, we presume, asleep? We don't know. It's really early. Hopefully he'll show up at some point. But if not, he'll be back next week. Anyway, Square Roots is a classic RPG podcast. We play your favorite RPGs, classic RPGs, one chonker at a time. And this week, we are on parts 3 or 4?
4.
Yeah.
4 of Dragon Age Origins.
Oh, that is one of my favorite RPGs.
Yeah, mine too.
This week, we are off to see the elves.
Yay!
We're off to see the elves,
friends.
The wonderful elves of Dragon Age. Fa la 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 la.
I assumed this would be like the same group of elves that I came from. It is not.
Oh, are they not? Oh no, I thought you were going home.
I assumed I would go and meet with Galadriel in Rivendell. And maybe the Balrog would join my party, and then, I don't know, maybe I would become the Dragon Reborn, and I would, like, cross the rift into the other realm, get the magic sword that I need.
Nah, they're more like ElfQuest elves, in that they hate everyone else, and they just live in the woods.
It's probably a little more realistic to how elves would be treated in the real world, considering how garbage human beings are.
Oh yeah, 100%.
What's an ElfQuest?
ElfQuest is a comic book from the 80s
Is it?
that was about some elves that lived in the woods, and they had
never
names
even-
like Cutter.
I was asking Vanessa.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
first of all, you did not make it clear that you were asking Vanessa, and second of all, yes, I have read ElfQuest, Vanessa. You can kiss my booty.
Not liar. Only girls read ElfQuest.
Stupid. I love indie comic books from the 80s and 90s. Have you ever read Bone? Let's talk about Bone.
Bone is a great, but we're talking about ElfQuest. ElfQuest was drawn by Wendy Peeney.
The main character's name is Bone.
By her
his
husband.
Cousin is named Phony Bone.
It was one of the first comics to
What's the
incorporate
tall
an
bone's
anime
name?
style into a Western adventure comic.
I
And
never really looked at it and thought anime style before, but I guess they do have big eyes. I don't think
they
it's
do
very...
have big eyes.
Also worth noting that when we're talking about comic books, it would be manga style.
Oh.
Since you didn't know that fact, I believe that gives me permission to disregard any opinions you have on anything from now on, because
You
I'm
don't
a
even know the
gatekeeping piece
names
shit.
of the 10 chiefs that Cutter hails from, making
I
him
named
blood
the main
of 10
character off the top of my
chiefs.
head.
Name
I'm
the
proud
10
of myself.
chiefs. Bear Claw. 2
Woof.
spears.
What about
Woof.
not wearing enough clothes, Elf? Because there's a bunch of those.
They wear enough to barely cover their tiddly bits.
The women
and
sure
that's
don't.
all they need. Well, sometimes they're naked, and sometimes they have orgies.
I've read the
ElfQuest.
first arc or two of ElfQuest a few times, and I've always been I'm interested in it, but I never get very far into it. Like, it doesn't stick. Unlike something like Bone, which I've literally read like 4 times front to back.
Bone?
Now,
Hey,
if you wanted
guys.
to ask about the other elf franchise, indie elf comic book franchise from the 80s, we could talk some about Poison Elves. You guys want to talk about Poison Elves?
No.
Not at all. I want to talk about how we leveled up.
Oh.
Yay!
Well, that sounds like a good idea. So before we jump into the main segment of the show where we talk about Dragon Age, we should probably jump into our little pre-segment where we all talk about how we leveled up. And Vanessa, it sounds like you're raring to go.
I sure am.
Tell me. How did you
Yesterday,
level
Up?
yesterday was my
She outweighted me.
birthday.
What?
So I got a cake
Whoa!
and I got some presents and I was going to go out to dinner, but it snowed a whole bunch. So instead, I stayed home and watched a documentary that I had recorded off of the CNN.
Was it about the Fire Festival?
It was about 3 identical strangers, and it was called 3 Identical Strangers.
What?
This is a story from
A lovely
the
lady.
80s. It's more about men, actually, although there are some women in it. It's a story that starts out with this kid who's 19 years old going to college for the very first time. He's a freshman, and he shows up on campus, and a whole bunch of people start saying, "Oh, welcome back," and patting him on the back and giving him hugs, and he's never seen these people before in his life. And he gets up to his dorm room, and this other kid bursts into the room and looks at him and goes totally white as a sheet. And he's like, you're not John. His name wasn't John. I don't remember their names. And then this kid runs to the payphone and calls this other guy. And the guy who everyone has been mistaken for discovers that they were both adopted from the same adoption agency 19 years ago. And they are twin brothers.
It is crazy to think an adoption agents. Like, I get they want the kids to go to different homes. Like, I don't know that that's the best decision, but I get that it's hard to get kids adopted. But to not even tell them?
Yeah, well, it gets weirder because then they call the press and they do a little feel-good story about this reunion. And a third guy takes a look at the newspaper and he's like, why are there a picture of 2 of me on front of this newspaper? Yeah, it turns out they were triplets.
Oh, but triplets are never identical, are they?
No, they are, in this case, 3 identical triplets. Very super rare.
I've never heard that was rare. I mean, I know triplets in general are rare, but it's rarer for them to be identical?
I thought they never were, or at least I thought. I could be wrong.
Well,
I mean, obviously
clearly,
you are
because I
wrong.
just watched this documentary, and they were.
Either they were doing some real interesting visual trickery, or you are wrong.
Yep.
All right.
And then it sort of gets into why this was done, and it turns out to be not just because it's difficult to place. There are shadowy scientists and shadowy organizations involved.
Does one of them have adamantium bones?
I don't want to spoil it, but it's a good story, and definitely check it out. If you have CNN, I'm sure they'll reshow it many times.
That's fascinating.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was an interesting story. It turns out to be pretty sad, so don't go in just looking for a good time heart feeler.
Well, then I'm probably not going to watch it, because I don't have time for that shit.
Huh. Well,
I
then
don't
just
think
watch
you
the
should
very
be feeling
beginning.
anyone's hearts.
I touched a
Unless
human
you're
brain
a heart
once.
surgeon. What?
Oh, no.
Well, you know,
Get
like you're
out. You are the devil.
you're in school and someone brings in a fermented human brain. And, everyone was sort of looking at it. And
I want to throw
And
up.
Professor Frankenstein was like, you can learn so much from this brain.
yeah, look at the wrinkles. And then they're like, oh, you can put on these gloves and touch it, but don't touch it without the glove. But then if you're a certain kind of kid, you sneaky peek a little finger out there and just give it a little
Jesus,
poke.
Vanessa. We were learning some real disturbing things about you today. You are not who I thought you were. The woman who has held a living human brain in her hand.
It was not living. It was totally dead and fermented in formaldehyde. Did not smell good or tasty. John, how did you level up?
How did I level up? Well, let's see. I played some more of Horizon Zero Dawn. And that game is fun. But if you want to hear about Square Roots host talking about that game, maybe we could find that copy of Instant Classic somewhere. I have no idea what happened to that. But we've talked about it before. Also, I watched the last episode of the season for The Good Place.
Oh,
No
I saw that
spoilers.
too. Oh, Matt hasn't watched it yet?
No.
I wouldn't spoil.
Side note, I usually would go in and just watch it like Friday morning at my desk on my phone, but they've banned watching stuff at your desk.
That's crazy. What kind of work doesn't let you watch television at work?
I know. They do
Jeez.
this about once a year. They get mad. And in about 6 months, the entire office will be doing it again because we don't give a shit.
That's great. I approve. And that I thought the finale was good. There's one relationship this season that I think the show doesn't totally justify working well, but that's okay. Hey, I'm not good at understanding relationships anyways with your human emotions. And there is a show I've been watching called Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh,
The show finale. It's all
I'm
done.
surprised you came back to that show. I know you had some issues with it.
I rewatched the episode that kind of left me with a bad taste in my mouth from season 3, and I was like, it's fine. It's not great. It's not a good episode, but you can just skip it.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
We're talking about how John leveled up. Calm down.
Yeah.
I just remembered that
Kimmy
I
Schmidt.
did watch the season finale of The Good Place.
Oh.
I forgot it
I'm
ended
talking about
last
Kimmy
week.
Schmidt
Oh, I haven't watched it
series
yet.
finale.
Is it good?
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Okay.
It's still, I think that show declined in quality over the
Yes.
4 seasons. It's like one of the few shows that had the strongest season was the first season.
Yes.
But Titus is always a delight. And so what you're asking a question there, Vanessa?
I was making a statement at the during the first season of The Good Place. I had a theory about the show, the sort of overarching perhaps twist of the show, which then was derailed. But now I think I'm back to my original theory.
Ooh.
And I'm not going to share what it is.
What?
Oh, should I share what it is?
No,
Yes.
no, I don't. No,
Well, I
Headphones
don't
off,
want to
John.
spoil anything.
no.
I wanna hear it.
I'm editing this.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to hear the theory.
Okay.
Oh, so you'll spoil anything you want to spoil, but Vanessa
I
can't
haven't
even talk
spoiled
about
anything.
her theories. I
a
see
theory
how it is.
isn't even a spoiler.
Okay, let's hear your theory. Let's hear it.
There is no bad place.
But they were
Oh,
first season.
Or were
or
they?
were they
Well, then where were they?
the good place? But it was testing them for some reason.
Yeah, maybe they were in the learning place all
Hmm.
along.
Oh,
You might be right.
Okay, I could go along with that theory. Let's see. There's 3 shows. Oh yeah, and also I am in for season All Stars season 4 of Drag Race, which as soon as the winner was called last night, I haven't even finished this episode. Someone tweeted, I think, like the second the winner was chosen on Twitter, and I was just like looking at Twitter. I forgot it was even airing. It was like at 6:50 my time, and someone wrote like, "Oh, don't send blank person hate mail because the other person would totally understand what they did when they got voted out." It's like, This is the second that happened. What are you doing? Ugh. People are terrible.
I don't know what
Why
you're
would you
talking
do
about.
that?
Yeah, I
Drag
stopped
race.
listening.
It's Drag Race.
I've never watched that show.
I still do. All right, that's my level up. And Matthew,
Yo!
how did you level up?
I got pulled over on my way home from work yesterday, and it turns out that my driver's
Oh.
license is expired, and I had no idea. So that's a $116 ticket, but it's been expired for a year, and it could have taken my ass to jail. So really, I lucked out.
That's terrible. I'm sorry, Matt.
You know what's crazy? Before November, around October, I was making sure all my stuff was in order so that I wouldn't have any problems when I went to vote. And one of the things I did was check the expiration of my driver's license. And I could have sworn it was 2021. But apparently it expired on my birthday last year.
Oh, no.
What was I going to talk about? I had something. Let me think for a second. I already talked about, we did Young Justice last week. You know, we talked about Young Justice last week, Vanessa, but we never talked about season 3. Are you going to watch season 3 of that show?
Sure.
Well, then I guess I won't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's delightful, though. Well, you know what? That's it. I got a ticket. Life sucks. Maybe Jim will show up soon. Let's move on to our favorite segment of the show. It's going to be a little shorter this time. I know the last couple of weeks have been particularly long episodes. So
But they love that.
I don't know that that's true.
No. Well, at least the listeners I've talked to love it.
I mean, when I
you
listen
don't
to the
love it-
show around an hour and a half, if there's like an hour left, I get bored and turn it off.
Just
That's-
listen to it on ×2 speed if it's too long for you.
Oh.
I mean, that's certainly one solution. This week on the quest log.
It's me. I'm your special guest narrator.
Ooh.
It's
we are
a-
off to see the elves.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie Elves.
If somebody had told me that there were going to be a lot of werewolves involved in Elftown, I maybe would have gone sooner, because I like me a werewolf.
Oh, well then you must have liked this section.
I didn't get the ending that I wanted, so I'm actually a little bummed out.
Oh.
What?
You can destroy the elves and get the werewolves on your side instead of the elves.
What?
And I
It's
did not.
true.
I tried to, but I fucked it up. In the end, I made the wrong decision, and I fucked it. I'm not happy about it.
All right, well, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
But before our big decision finale, we arrive at the edge of the woods where these Dalish elves have set up camp. And the gatekeeper is like, "What's up, stupid shems? Get the shem out of here, shems."
What's a shem?
A shem?
Human.
Yeah, or someone who's not an elf. But John, you are an elf.
Mm-hmm.
So did she react differently to you?
Yeah, well, they also have a word for the dwarves.
Oh.
So it is specifically humans, I believe. Yeah, so they're like, "Oh, hey, Dalish buddy, what's up? You've got some weird friends." And I'm like, "Oh, Alesh Nash Fleshlem." And they're like, "Hi. Want to come to our village?" And I'm like, "Sure. I'm going to bring my buddies." And they're like, is that okay? And they're like, "I guess. Look at those buddies you got." Ugh.
Oh, interesting. I used my persuade skill and I was like, "I'll tell your leader why I'm here and nobody else." And then got to the leader and was like, "What's up? I'm a Grey Warden." And the gatekeeper elf was like, "Why didn't you just tell me that? I would've let
I
you
was
in."
just like, I'm a Grey Warden. Let me through, motherfucker. And he did.
So I had a suspicion of, okay, so you get to the leader and the second he talks, I'm like, "That's Tuvok." But then I looked up Dragon Age Origins cast and Tuvok doesn't show up, but it's Tuvok.
It sounds a lot like a tuvok.
It is Tuvok.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. Someone looked it up for me while I was streaming it, and it is Tuvok.
Oh. Well, Tuvok is there. He's totally bald and heckin' old. He's like, what's up? I'm the keeper, Zetharian. I've been keeper for like 300 years. And everyone's like, yeah, Zetharian's super cool. He's rediscovered the immortality of our ancestors. We love Zetharian.
Yay!
And Zetharian would really like to help the Grey Wardens, as promised in the treaty. These Dalish are like all about the Grey Wardens. It's kind of a refreshing change after all of the cynicism we've been met with.
Yeah.
The Dalish think the Grey Wardens are great, but their whole village is being attacked by werewolves.
Oh, no.
And,
no.
many of their elfins have been bit, and they're suffering and dying, and so he's like, yeah, can't help you. Too many werewolves. And you're like, I guess I better kill these werewolves, huh? It's like, that'd be great.
He warns you about being bit by a werewolf. Is that a thing that can happen?
I don't think so.
I mean, not in the game, but I mean, you assume that a werewolf could bite you if it was real. I assume it's got
true.
a mouth.
That's true.
It's got
Excellent point,
tooths.
Matthew. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you ever see the movie Silver Bullet?
Yeah, I loved that movie when I was a kid because
Me
it was about
too.
werewolves, but it's not a good movie. I just love werewolves.
My memory of it as a child is that it was very good. Vanessa, have you seen this film?
I don't particularly care for werewolves.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What about if they are a Taylor Lautner? Is that his name?
Yes, but no, I do not particularly care for Twilight werewolves, although, let's be honest, Bella should have ended up with Jacob. Edward is ridiculous.
What about a werewolf in Paris or in London? Do you like those werewolves?
I like London and I like Paris, but I still don't like a werewolf. I'm a cat person.
I'm a big fan of werewolves. They're kind of like I think they're like my favorite monster type.
I like a ghost that you don't know is a ghost and then turns out to be a ghost.
No, you don't like that. You hate that.
You don't.
That's
Yeah.
right. I got confused. Anyway, Zetharian says that we got to go kill werewolf alpha number 1, Witherfang.
Oh, Ticklefeather.
Ticklefeather.
Ticklefeather?
And we don't really have a choice but to consent to this werewolf hunt if we want the help of the Dalish.
Yeah, Zetharian is the leader of this tribe, and he's all, you gotta go kill a werewolf. And of course, that sounds pretty basic, right? Like, werewolves are just monsters, so I gotta go out into the woods and kill some monsters? That's fine.
Yep. Totally basic quest.
I thought he looked like Solus a bit.
He did look like Solus a bit.
I was wondering, I was like, ooh, is there going to be some kind of connection here? But I don't think there is.
No, there is a statue of Fen'Haral on the outskirts.
Hey, what are you doing here, Vanessa?
Oh, sorry, I was just talking about elves.
Yeah, just talking about random pieces of lore.
Yeah, just random pieces of elvish lore.
Yep.
Anyway, we are given permission to wander around the village. There are a few little quests we can do. There is the Love Connection quest.
Oh, yeah, I failed this quest.
I skipped a lot of these. I saw them and was like...
broke.
Yeah,
what
I
did
saw
you
these
do,
and was just
John?
kind of like, nah.
Okay, so, step 1.
You can have lots of fun.
You talk to this young lad who's real sad because he can't go hunting and he can't get the pelt he needs to impress this lady. And he like points to this lady at the other side of the camp, and she's like looking at him and looking demure and having fun with her friends. And then he's like, "Oh, maybe you could go talk to her." And I'm like, "Sure, I'll go talk to her. Maybe I can, say hi," because she won't date him. Because he hasn't completed the hunt. He's still an apprentice, and that's embarrassing.
Yeah, he basically hasn't had his bat mitzvah yet.
Right. And he's like 19, so it's getting weird.
Yeah.
I found this a little odd because he's like, I've been an apprentice for too long and I need to go get a pelt and they won't let me because there's werewolves. How long has this werewolf thing been going on?
I guess, a long time, like hundreds of years, but I think they started attacking more recently. The elves. But it would be his bar mitzvah, wouldn't it? Yes, because bat is ladies.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So
not whatever. Let's be sensitive to our Jewish friends.
We do have plenty of Jewish listeners. So
Vanessa,
yeah,
jeez.
So we go talk. I don't know about you, but I tried to talk to the girl, and I've been really leaning on my persuade skills, and I actually put a point into persuade, but I don't have good charisma, so. That was a wasted point, and my character is like someone who thinks they're really good at convincing people, but is terrible.
Oh, like Jared Kushner.
Yeah. I am not good at the art of the deal, and just keep ruining it every time when I think that I'm doing super great. And she's like, so I said, come on, isn't it more important that you love him for him and not his status in the tribe? And she says, no. And I went back to him and I'm like, well, I could try to get you a pelt. And he's like, no, I wouldn't want to do that. And I tried to convince him to like take a pelt that I had. And he said, no. And then the quest icon kept appearing, but there's no more dialogue options. And even after I like finished this whole thing and he could go hunt again, it just like, it showed him as a quest giver, but I couldn't get a quest from him.
I just chose to not help him, basically. Like, it was giving me the option to be like, do you want me to go get you a pelt? But I was like, nah, boy, like, go do your own thing. I'm not fucking doing it for you.
I, of course, used my eloquent silver tongue and got them together.
Oh.
I was like, hey, you know, you're making him miserable, and that's why he can't do his hunt, because he's so consumed with love, and you should help him succeed. That's how you be a good partner. And she's like, oh, you're right. I've been an idiot. And goes to him, and she's like, you know, we'll work on it together. And then the elves in the village were kind of like, that's not really how we do things, but you had good intentions and it's not like a huge deal, but that's not really how we do things. So there was that. There's a guy who wants to find out what happened to his wife.
Right.
The keeper says that she is dead in the woods, but he can't go get her body. There's a dude who wants some ironwood.
Dead wife guy's like, I think my wife's a werewolf and he's not telling me.
Yeah.
He's pretty smart.
Mm-hmm. He saw through this story of her not being a werewolf.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ironwood guy knew my dad.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, because so this isn't the tribe I came from, but my tribe and this tribe are very close because we tend to like hunt and move around in the same parts of the continent. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, at the last meeting of the clans, we totally hung out, and he was a craftsman like I am, and I could show you my Daedalus crafting skills if you can find me this wood that you're telling us about there, the blue wood.
Mm-hmm. It is
ironwood.
Interesting how your origin affects how people interact with you throughout the world.
Yeah. I like that.
Me
and
too.
For this, there's a lot of it, because a lot of the answers, I think that can skip a persuade. I can just say like, you know, this is my background, or I know about this because I'm Dalish. Look at my tattoos.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I like that.
And then the last quest there was like a injured Hala, which is like their animals that they use to pull their wagons and things like that. They're deer. They're pretty white deers. I did not have the survival skills to help this Hala. Did you guys?
Mm-mm.
I didn't get this quest, or I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's just like
I
over in
wasn't
the corner.
able to do anything. They just kind of looked at me and told me to go away.
Yeah, they're like, get out of here. You don't know what you're doing. So we trudge off to the woods. I brought Zethrin with me. Zevran?
Zevran.
Zevran. because I wanted him to spend some time with the Dalish, because he told me his mother was Dalish.
Oh.
And I also brought Wynn and Alistair, of course.
You know, I had that identical party until it became too hard and I had to go get a good party.
I don't think it makes a huge difference who you bring on this quest.
No, but you get, like, I liked Zevran's flavor text about the Dalish. I thought that was interesting.
I really wanted to bring Zevran, but he can't pick any locks, so what fucking good is he?
He is, he comes with some really good combat skills. Like, he has this flurry of attacks. I guess Vanessa has that skill, too. And, yeah, I was doing crazy damage with him. And I had a couple of good daggers to give him, so... And I could also swap him out. He adds good dexterity, so I gave him a bow, and used him as long range and kited people over and stuff.
When you give somebody a bow, there's an equipment slot for arrows. If you don't equip arrows, do they not attack?
They have normal arrows.
Oh,
you get special. There's an equipment slot for special arrows.
Yeah, like fire arrow, ice arrow, elf arrow.
Elf arrows are super good. So Wynn has some stuff to say about the werewolf lady you find.
She does when we get to that point, and she also had a lot of good dialogue with Zevran. She would sort of try to admonish him, and at first she's like, "You must have a lot of regrets about your life and being an assassin." And he just says, "Oh yes, I'm full of regrets." And she's like, "No, I'm being serious." And he's like, "I'm so regretful. Let me cry onto your bosom." And then she gets kind of disgusted with him. And then he tries to hook her up with a friend of his. He's like, "I have a friend who really likes mature ladies." And he says that they're more refined and, taste like a better wine. And she's just like, "Shut up. I hate you."
I had one of my favorite. I've never had this moment before because I'd never had Sten in my party because he left my game so early when I first played this.
Why?
Because he didn't want me to go get the urn and said I was wasting time. And I didn't have the DLC with the instant friend items. So he just left. And he totally left my party. But this time, I gave him the plus 50 friendship item right away, which kind of ruins the game. I would suggest not using the cheat items.
Yeah, it does kind of nerf that aspect of the game.
Yeah, there's no challenge to figuring out what items to give. They just love you and get all their abilities immediately if you give them those items. So
yeah, that's what I want.
Anyway, so I was walking with Wynn and Sten, and Wynn says, "Well, aren't you cold?" And Sten says, "No, why?" And she said, "Well, I know you're used to a much warmer climate, and I just feel like, I guess there's no cloaks available in your size, are there?" "No." "Well, maybe I could go to the town and pick up some wool, and I think I know a pattern that could work for you, and I think I could." She was just sort of mumbling to herself about knitting a cloak for Sten. I just thought that was adorable.
That's funny.
I like her.
Very charming.
Yeah, that was, I think, that and Zevran talking about how he doesn't like forests are the only bits of character dialogue I got in this chunker.
Well, speaking of the forest, in we go. There's some wolves in there. There's some darkspawn. There's a bear.
Woof.
Oh, yeah, but like a real bear.
Oh.
And that bear has had its way with the Templar, and that Templar is dead. So there's some bodies you can sort of pick over. I kind of tried to not attack
the bear, because I was like, but I don't want to kill the bear. Plus I had Morgan with me, and I was like, she probably doesn't want me to kill this bear. Mm-hmm. But it did not give me a choice.
Oh,
I slaughtered 5 bears.
I bet you did.
With this D.
Oh, no. There are lots of sort of strange things you can come across. There is a nice cozy camp. Did you guys find this?
Oh, I did. I love cozy camp.
Mm-hmm. It was a sweet cozy camp. You can look at the tent. You can look at the fire. You can look at the
tent
bedrolls.
looks real comfy and just nice
they're
to
like,
snooze in.
what a great comfy camp. And
I must have missed this.
what a nice fire. And what nice
It's like
bedrolls.
right behind Rhymy Tree Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
We'll
I never
get to
went
in a
behind
second.
him.
And every time you look at something, you get like basically 3 options. One is like, this is super creepy. We need to run away. One is, let's keep looking around, but stay awake. And the last one is sleepy time.
I tried to run away and I just... Okay, so what happens to you? Did you get to sleepy time?
I did get to sleepy time because I kept looking at stuff. And
Right.
eventually I could not resist the delicious sleepy time.
So what happens when you woke up?
When I woke up, only Wynn was alive.
Okay, I had that too.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's something special about her that made her resist to this, or if it's because she's a mage or something.
Would it be... is it nice that it chooses the character who has revive?
Yeah.
I assumed the game was being nice.
Maybe it was being nice. So, yeah, then you gotta wake up the rest of your party, fight this demon that shows up, and then all of the nice sleepy time camp fades away, and there's just piles of bones.
Yes.
So I thought
So
this was
perfect.
kind of cool. It's like a little trap that they had laid.
I feel like this could have been a little bit more elaborate, because it just like, basically you just fall asleep and then it's just a fight with a monster. There's no dialogue and nothing really happens.
Yeah, but that said, I was worried I was going to go into the fate again, and I really didn't want to do that.
That's true. Especially trying to we all had to marathon this chunker because it's like a day and a half since we recorded our last episode.
Yeah, so we've been living and breathing Dragon Age in a bad way, and it apparently just did Jim in, because he's gone.
He's gone.
He's like, no thank you. So what else is in the woods before we get to the main chunker? There's the werewolf lady.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess
And
first we encounter Swift Runner, the gentleman werewolf.
Oh.
And Swift Runner has some things to say, which is a little bit of a shocker, because most werewolves don't speak. And
Is it Bork?
I don't know what you mean.
He speak, he Bork, he strong.
Is this a dog meme thing?
Yeah.
I've already established that I'm a cat person in this episode.
Oh, but he Bork.
Yeah, it's kind of cute when they bork.
I know.
Yeah.
And
Borking.
he's a cute, strong boy. He's a big old strong boy with sharp teethums.
Teethums.
And he wants to talk to you a little bit.
Yeah. He's like, what's up? Get the heck out of the woods. This elf who sent you here is full of shit. You don't know what you're doing. Leave us alone. Goodbye.
And Wynn's like, these things shouldn't be talking.
Yeah.
That's weird.
She's like, this is a very unusual situation. I imagine at this point you can get into a fight with these werewolves, but I did not. I just talked it out with them, and then they ran away.
Yeah, you can just say, hey, I don't want to fight you, and they will not fight you.
Yeah, they're like...
Or you can, like, try to persuade them, as I did, because my character is real good at talking, and they're like, no, we're going to eat your face.
Oh, no.
And they try to, but then they run away if you injure Swift Runner.
Oh.
So.
Well,
Yeah.
it's good. I didn't have to fight them at all. They were just like, you get out of here. We'll get out of here. And if you keep trying to come after us, the forest is going to deal with you. And they were right, because right behind these werewolves is some real ants.
Swearwolves.
You're a swearwolf.
Werewolves, not swearwolves, Gary.
I became a swearwolf playing this game last night and dying a bunch.
Oh.
Try playing it on easy. It's a lot more fun.
Nope.
Except the lack of inventory space is starting to make me fucking crazy.
You can buy a
Yeah.
backpack.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go do that. I'm going to have to go Google where I can buy a backpack, because I am out of inventory space every time I go into the dungeon.
I think
Me too.
Boden has one, and I think that the guy at the quartermaster at the tower has one.
I looked at the tower. I'll Google it.
I could be wrong.
I'm definitely like destroying stuff to make room for new stuff. It's really frustrating.
Me too,
Yeah.
all the time.
Me
I have
as well.
so many gifts. Like, is there not a treasure chest at camp that I can dump stuff into?
Why have you not been giving away your gifts to people?
But I
don't
try
fucking
and they're
care.
still in the inventory because like the special ones don't go away.
That's true.
Oh, really? Yeah, I
You
did
can
give the
sell
Black
the special
Grimoire
ones.
and Alistair's mother's amulet.
Yeah. You can sell the special ones back to Bowden.
I seem to remember, and Vanessa can tell me if I'm wrong, the Grey Warden Castle DLC that like it's one of the golden things on the map. If you have the special edition with all the DLC, I think that has a storage box.
I think it does too. I haven't been there in this playthrough, but I do recall it having a storage box.
What is it called?
Oh, well, it's like there's a mountain pass. It's sort of on the other side of the lake from the tower.
Yeah.
And that's a whole DLC about freeing the Grey Warden space to use.
There's a-
And I think that
Yeah. There's a guy
Can you
can
do
talk
that early
to at
on,
camp.
or is that one of those after the game is over you can go?
Nope, you can do it right now.
Yeah,
then I probably
there's like
will.
a dude at your camp, and he's like, come with me to liberate the Grey Warden space.
How do you start the Shale quest?
I think there's another dude at camp to talk to, named like Emissary or something. I don't know. Or maybe you just go to one of the golden locations.
Yeah, I think it's that.
I need to Google around a bit. I haven't found any guides online that I have thought were particularly well put together. There are guides, but they're none that I'm like, oh, this is easy to get through and find what information I need. Most of them are just like walls of text.
Because I've got all these like large crystals for Shale,
Yeah.
like and I'm like, I need to get Shale, and I got Shale so late last time that I think the next thing I'm going to do is try and get Shale in the party because Shale is maybe the best party member in
That's
this
a great
game.
idea. He's delightful.
Yeah.
Who's
Wait,
a Shale?
what? First of all, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Pronouns.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second, Shale is a DLC character. So if you got like the special edition of the game, you
Yeah, I have the Ultimate
Shale.
Edition.
I think Shale came with like, Shale was not a pre-order bonus, but like you bought the game bonus that they did in like the 2000s where the game came with a one-time code to get like Catwoman or Shale, depending on what
Catwoman.
game it is.
Yeah, is
Well,
that
like
an
in-
option? Are you telling me I can get Catwoman? Because if so,
I'm saying
this
it's
game just
like
changed
how-
wildly.
If you bought Batman, Arkham City used, you wouldn't get Catwoman. And I think the Shale was the same thing.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. But that's all for next time.
Oh,
This time.
what about this time?
We have, we find some Ents and we kill them.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah. They're big. They're heckin' big.
I've got a flamethrower spell, so it's always fun to use that one first because it kills them fast.
Oh yeah, even on hard, that destroys
Yeah.
them.
I got
And,
the last spell I got that I had been not working toward because I had to get cold ice weapons first, which is useless. So, but I finally
Oh, that's a good spell.
no. So I finally got that, and so that I could get the spell that I really wanted, which was Cone of Cold, which is wonderful. And I was using to freeze fucking groups of werewolves in their tracks. It was amazing.
I got that in the last fight, basically. I finally got Cone of Cold with Morgan, but I also have Morgan and Win with flamethrowers, so that's how I won the last battle.
Flamethrower is a good one. So anyway, where are we, guys? Did we
Hold on,
we got some ents?
She's just yeah.
Vanessa's got something to say about these ents, I think.
Of course I do. In the center of the Ents is a gentle Ent named Grand Oak. And Grand Oak is a real Tom Bombadil.
I thought this was delightful. I really enjoyed it.
Grand Oak has speaking in rhyme.
All the time.
All the time. And you can sort of admonish Grand Oak for this behavior. You can be like, what are you doing? Why are you just speaking in rhyme? It actually, it struck me as a very Sierra kind of character.
Yeah, he was really, it was
Yeah.
like a King's Quest 6 kind of game.
And of course, being a tree, he has roots. So I think this is an episode of Sierra Roots.
Oh, Wow. So, which Sierra characters can you think of off the top of your head that talk in rhyme?
Oh, golly.
Does the owl talk in rhyme from 6?
I'm not sure. I want to say Yip Yap Falderall, but I don't think that's right either. I think he's just fancy, not necessarily rhymey. But there must be dozens.
Yes, I'm sure. I'd say like in Police Quest, I think Jesse Baines probably talked in rhyme. In Space Quest, I'm assuming that Vogon what's the Vorgon probably did.
Mm-hmm. Definitely the woman who sings "I Want to Be an Archaeologist" is singing in rhyme.
What does she rhyme with warm?
So it seems like I got up for a minute and came back to an episode of Sierra Roots. So I'm just gonna go push my way in and say that old Grand Oak here is a real Etrigan
Storm.
The demon.
It was Storm.
Yeah, he wants to be reunited with his seed.
Oh, he's a kinky tree.
Yeah.
Like that is hardcore. Ugh.
Like many men before him, someone has taken his seed and he wants it back.
It's like a reverse Silence of the Lambs.
Yes, you're
What?
right. In Silence of the Lambs, the seed was given to someone who did not want it. In this game, the seed has been taken from someone who wanted to keep it.
Got it.
Thank you for explaining my joke.
Yeah, you're welcome.
To Matthew.
So
I forgot about that. That's one of the worst scenes in fighting cinema history.
I remember asking my Mom, what's that?
Ugh.
But also, why? Okay.
Why were you watching
that? I was 12.
Yeah.
Mom, that's entirely on them.
It's like when I was watching the new It with my stepdaughter, and there are some scenes that strongly hint that the girl is getting molested, and I was just like, please let these go over your head.
And so we can agree to help the tree get its seed back, or I think we can just attack it or ignore it. I agreed to help the tree. What about you guys?
Me too. I like this tree. I think his rhyming is cool. He's like a cool rapper with his raps. He rippity raps about his seed, which is pretty great. And so I was like, sure, buddy. Whatever you need. Do you want me to water you?
John?
Oh, I am doing whatever this rhyming tree asks.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, he kind of looks spooky. He's got a bit of like a skull face, but he's real nice and sweet.
He apologizes on behalf of his ent-ish brethren, he says. They're all like poisoned with rage or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a very sweet tree. So I went off to find his seed. He said to head east, and I did so. I did encounter a foggy barrier that I couldn't get past.
Yeah,
Me
if you
too.
walk into it, it like spits you out and gives you like a 5-minute cutscene where they basically just explain it spit us back out.
So who explained it in your game, Matthew?
I think Morrigan.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Wynn
I
did
decided
mine.
to start using Morrigan because I like her, but I don't use her. I don't know. I started using her, and she's pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
Having two
We
mages.
did decide on that episode you were not on that she is your girlfriend.
Yeah. Having two mages is good and lets things get really fast killed. I like to do the killing of things fast.
Me too.
There's a part where you get swarmed by skeletons coming up where I couldn't win this fight. Like I tried 6 or 7 times. So I just came back with 2 mages and Sten and steamrolled them.
Nice.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I don't think I did this one either. I think that I got killed on it once. Yeah, I got killed last night doing this, and that was the last thing I played. I saw where it reset me, and I was like, oh, fuck this. And I went to bed.
Yeah, there are a couple of places where you can find a gravestone and you disturb the runes and then these skeletons swarm you and also a wraith.
What really gets me are the revenants.
Yeah.
And I think there is one in this clearing you're talking about. I think there's a revenant because it killed me.
Oh, is that if you're investigating the gravestone? I think that brings up revenants. Yeah, because that was in the courtyard battle in Redcliffe. There was one that was super hard.
Yes, I remember you had trouble with that.
Yeah, that was the hardest boss fight in the game.
With the possible exception of this next guy coming up, Seed Thief.
Oh.
Who is also a real Tom Bombadil.
You can't have two Tom Bombadils, Vanessa.
Tom Bombadil number 2.
Too many, 2 Toms.
This guy annoyed me, so raise your hand if you killed Tom Bombadil.
No.
I had a little voice in my head telling me to kill Tom Bombadil as I was playing this, and that voice was named Chad Mozart. that voice was typing in my Twitch feed saying, kill him, you'll get all his items.
I did kill him, and I took all of his items. I didn't mean to. He attacked me when I decided to invade his little tree stump, and then I was just like, fuck you, and I killed him.
Yeah. He's a real Smeagol, because he wants to play a game of riddles with you. Of the sort. He's a real Scott Aukerman, because he wants to play 20 questions. Does Scott Aukerman play 20 questions?
He wants to play Would You Rather?
I thought from the way that he was phrasing it that it was going to be a if he ends his sentence with a question, then you have to answer the question. Then if he ends it with a statement, you have to end it with a statement. And I thought it was like going to be kind of not a logic puzzle, but like a puzzle.
Yeah.
But no, it's more of a Silence of the Lambs, not the other thing I was talking about. This is more of a Silence of the Lambs quid pro quo Clarice thing.
If you answer one of his questions, he will answer one of yours. And
exactly.
He keeps accusing you of being sent by someone, but I just kept telling him the truth about me, and he's like, you're very clever to keep up this ruse, but...
I got real deep into the options here, and he was asking me questions that I didn't know the answer to.
What was he asking?
Well, he's like, where were you born? And I'm like, I don't fucking know.
But I think you can, like... make it up.
Yeah.
I think you can be like, it's you, whatever answer you tell him is the truth.
He asked me how my relationship with my father was. And I was like, I don't think this game has ever told me about my relationship with my father.
So what did you tell him?
I think I told him that my father was dead.
Interesting.
I didn't go that far because you can get pretty deep into his questions, but I was just like, after I got the acorn from him, I was like,
what
yeah,
did you trade to get the acorn?
I had a ring, and speaking of him being like Smeagol, he was real into that.
Yeah, I also traded a ring, and he's like, ooh, I used to have a ring like this, but this one's
I had
shiny.
a scarf that I had gotten from a werewolf that wanted me to give it to her husband.
Oh,
before I killed the werewolf.
The memento scarf? You gave that to him?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Is that bad? That's all I had.
It's just a way of finishing a quest.
Well, I'll probably still be able to finish that quest. We'll see.
Where was she keeping? Well, we'll talk about that when we get to Werewolf Lady in a second.
Yeah, so it sounds like we all got the acorn from him one way or the other.
So how was this a hard boss fight, Matthew?
No, I tore him to shreds. I hit him
Vanessa,
with some shocks, and I hit him with some freezes, and I hit him with some flamethrower, and he went, ah.
Whenever a battle starts getting tough for Vanessa, she sees the matrix and like sees the zeros and ones that makes up every person, and then just like rips their code out.
That's what I do.
You mean she cheats using
console commands
Yeah, I'm
at the
just
end of the
being
matrix.
a real Neo. I like to think of it as the hand of Andraste or the Maker. Just watching over these people.
Wow.
So.
I don't know. It's not that hard. I mean, I am playing on easy, but if I pause it, I use pause a lot. I make sure that I'm directing my spells where I want to direct them. I don't really worry about. I just kind of let Alistair stand there and get smashed on, and Morrigan hung out in the background, and I also had Leliana or whatever her name is, and I've given her
Leliana.
She's got a bow, so basically everybody swarms Alistair, and the rest of us just blast their fucking faces off. It's great. It's a good tactic.
So after you murderify this poor old man who doesn't, did he I was talking to him about how to get through the forest, the spooky, foggy forest, and he says, well, there's this annoying tree. If you kill this tree for me, because he's obnoxious and only speaks in rhyme, I will I'll tell you how to get through this forest.
Yeah, he told me the same thing, and I was like, I will not kill this tree. I will, however, do a fair trade. I also traded one of my books for one of his books.
Oh.
And he strongly implied that he was going to use the book I gave him for toilet paper.
Oh.
Does that mean that he had already used the book he gave you for toilet paper?
No, he said that he just has read it too many times to be interested in it anymore.
I don't know why this whole encounter, I really liked it, but it reminded me a lot of Knights of the Old Republic. Like, this reminds me totally of some stuff that you had to do in Old Republic. It's
certainly an interesting little side quest that kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's real weird with all these rhymey people and people that ask you questions. Like, I got deep with this guy, and I finally traded him for the acorn, and then I went
the helmet
to hit. No, I didn't worry about that stuff. And then I went to his tree stump and and stuck my hand in it, and he attacked me, and I blasted.
Oh, that's why you killed him.
I blasted his face off of his face.
Yeah, can't just go sticking your hand in people's tree stumps without permission.
Can't you though? Because I did.
Oh. Did you meet Lady Werewolf?
Yeah.
Yep. Can you even avoid this? Well, I guess if you don't have the quest, maybe you wouldn't.
And she's up in like a part of the map you don't have to go to.
Oh, really?
And she's like, what's up? I'm an elf. I got bit. I got turned into a werewolf. It really sucks. I'm in a whole lot of pain. Please kill me.
I kind of wanted to tell her, hey, in like 20 minutes, you'll be fine. But she was not having it.
Yeah, I wanted to do the same thing. Mine did give me the option to try to take her back to camp, but I don't know that it would have worked. I didn't try it. I was just like, she was like begging me for death, and I was like, yeah, all right.
My character is very gullible and will go along with whatever anyone asks her to do, pretty much, with some exceptions. No genocide. And, so she murdered this wolf because the wolf's like, hey, I'm in a lot of pain and I don't want my husband to ever see me like this. So can you tell him, 1, I love him. 2, give him the scarf, this precious scarf that should never be given to anyone. But I mean, why would you do that? Because you're not heartless. And, and 3, kill me.
Yeah, I killed her as well. It didn't necessarily feel like the right thing to do, but I think it was the best thing to do.
I wonder what would happen if you brought him back to camp. I guess Jim would know. Jim, what did you do?
Hi guys, I brought the werewolf back to camp, and then
That's a
she
good
just
point,
killed
Vanessa.
everyone.
Jim does sound like a Muppet.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask him
Jim
about
Vegas
his
here.
early life, he tells you he grew up in Jim Henson's Creature Shop.
My dad made me. Yeah.
Aw. No making fun of Jim. He's great.
Fuck you. You guys make fun of me every time I miss an episode.
Yeah, no, I said Jim is great.
Hey!
That really hurt my feelings.
Aww.
Anyway, we take this acorn back to this tree, and the tree's like,
Yes, my seed, my precious seed. I'm finally reunited with my seed. I can't live without my seed.
And he gives you a stick.
he gives you a stick. Maybe the same stick that his seed came from in the first place.
Ugh, stop talking about his seed.
So, you have a stick. It's actually a staff, which is pretty cool. You can give it to one of your mages to equip.
Yeah, I equipped it myself.
Okay, except it does nature damage, which skeletons are immune to.
Oh, yeah, I did notice that, but it doesn't. Like, I don't use the attack, or I use it so little on the staves that I use. It doesn't matter what kind of attack, what kind of damage they do, because I'm just constantly casting spells. I've got like 8 now that
nice.
I just like cycle through.
Wind
I
can
also
do
do that, but I have
earthquakes.
to attack. Yeah, wind can, and they're not as good as you think they'd be.
No, they're just sort of dramatic.
Like they knock people off their feet, but it has friendly fire, I think, doesn't it? Yeah, so it's not that great.
So with the stick, we can get through the foggy barrier. And we run into, what did I decide to call him? Shiverpaw, Swift Runner.
Swift Runner.
Yeah. Run into Swift Runner again. I tried to avoid fighting him again, but had to fight him. But then a white wolf appeared and growled at me, and all the werewolves ran away. So I chased after them into some ruins.
Now, there's a bunch of gravestones around this whole area, and you can't get to them until you've done a quest down in the basement.
Oh, is that true?
At least because I had no options with them.
Interesting.
Like, I could look at them and just said, this feels spooky, leave this area.
Oh, yeah, I did run into a couple of those. I didn't realize that there was something to do later.
Yeah, I think that this goes back to those revenants that were killing Matt.
Ah, good to know. Yeah, in the ruins, there's a whole bunch of spooky things. There's spooky spiders.
I only got killed by the one revenant.
There's spooky skeletons.
Ooh.
There's
Spiders
a little
are a
boy
real pain in
ghost
the ass.
who
Ooh.
is...
But you know he's a ghost.
You know he's a ghost, so he's not that spooky.
So when you see boy ghost, that's when you get surrounded by spooky skeletons. And that, so far, is the hardest fight in the game. It's one I could not win until I went back and changed my party to have. So I put Sten in, and then I had both mages, and then I could do it, but even then it was a tricky one.
Did it restart you at the beginning of the
I don't like how
woods?
this game sometimes forces your party to be in a certain area, and it does that a lot in this quest, where you get surrounded, and it makes the strategy kind of hard.
Yeah.
I just realized that I had my microphone muted. I thought you guys were being very rude to me.
You're taking a
Very
break.
upset.
I thought you were just listening politely.
Yeah, I muted to blow
Wow.
my nose.
So, could you understand what this spooky ghost was saying, John?
No, because the elves, even the Dalish, have lost ancient Elvish.
Okay.
After there's a name for it, but like when the elves used to be running the world and now they're not.
Who run the world? Elves.
Before you get to elf, you hear a loud stomp or ghost. You hear loud stompies.
Oh, is this before? Yeah.
Yeah. Before you go downstairs, you hear super stompy, and Alistair, who was in my party at the time, is like, "Oh, I don't know what this sound is, but it sounds big."
Yeah, he did the same thing to me. And also, before I forget, at one point I was switching between characters, and you know when you switch to one, they can be like, yes, indeed, okay. I
Yes.
switched to Alistair at one point, and he said, yes. I was like, what are you doing, bro?
It's great.
Does he get new reactions now that he loves you? Is he like, "Yes, my love"?
I don't think he does in party, but at camp, he keeps telling me that my desire is his command or something like that.
Oh, you're a sexy desire.
Yeah.
I think I missed some of this stuff. I don't know. I did fight the dragon, but I don't remember this ghost.
The ghost, it just shows up. There's two ghosts. There's a mom and a son.
Oh, yeah, okay, you're right.
Yeah. So, dragon, yeah. The stompy thing is a dragon, but it's Idle.
Yeah, it's my first dragon kill.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get the party chat about, and I don't remember hearing the dragon, but I did run across the dragon and kill it.
I heard it like stomping and growling, and people were warning you about it. And it's like, maybe you should save your game.
Yeah, essentially.
That was a fun fight. I apparently, according to Chad Mozart, was using World of Warcraft tactics, because I kind of had it towards my fighter and everyone else was long range. Like even Alistair gave a bow, and he's not super a bow guy, but just so that everyone kept away from it, since it had all these area of effect attacks.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. That was a really fun fight. I liked that one a lot.
There's lots of traps around the dragon, too.
And there's lots of treasure you can't pick up because your inventory's full.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of it sucks, though. Like leather boots and stuff. I was like, who fucking cares?
Yeah. I kind of miss the Fallout thing of having one character who has just a high strength that you bring along.
Yeah,
so
just
you can
to
load
carry
him full of
everything.
Stuff.
He'll be like, "Oh, just don't use me as a pack mule." And you're like, "I am though."
So yeah, downstairs, more skeletons. There is a sarcophagus which has a book that tells you this weird ancient elvish ritual.
Yeah. It's all about this jug of water. And I think that this is probably optional, but I did do the jug of water room. Did you do it, John?
Right. I totally did.
How about you, Matt?
Yes, ma'am. I did, in fact, jug the water.
Yeah, so you find a jug of water, you follow the instructions, which is like, fill the jug, put it on the altar, pray to the jug, sip from the jug, pour the rest of the water back into the well.
I assume when Matt was playing, he was saying nice jugs.
Yeah. Talk to the jug, fondle the jug.
And so this reminds me of KOTOR as well. It says you have to read the quest description to do the thing in the right order.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I pulled up a FAQ. I was trying to get to the end of it.
Are you guys disappointed that we haven't run into one of those puzzles where we have to move the objects in order of size from one peg to another?
I'm so glad that is not in this game that I know of.
I keep hoping to run into a Final Fantasy character or a Disney character, and it just keeps not happening.
Oh. So we get into this room. The mother ghost is in there. I tried to talk to her, but she had no idea what I was saying, and then just like summoned a lich to attack me.
Yeah, she did the same thing to me, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm an elf lady. We're friends. What are you doing here?" And she turned into like a demon spirit.
Yeah, she seems not great.
Not great.
But then you can get a piece of that juggernaut armor, which
Oh,
Give me
yeah.
a piece of that juggernaut armor.
none of my characters are strong enough to equip. But maybe someday they will be.
I think my Alistair's like to a point away.
And this gives you access to, once you've done this quest, all the graves. It says there's 3 other graves
Oh,
around the forest, and those will give you the other pieces.
interesting.
And that will make you fight revenants that were killing Matthew.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So things are going pretty well, though. We keep plodding on through these ruins. There's a couple of phylacteries. One I touched and it just broke apart, and a revenant attacked me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't do that.
It was just like on the floor somewhere.
Yeah, it was just a fight.
Oh.
And then
Weird.
one you pick up and it sort of communicates with you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do this either.
Yeah, you pick it up and it starts like sort of sending you psychic messages and things like that. And it wants to be put to sleep, laid to rest, and says that it will teach you how to be an arcane warrior if you do that for it.
It's it's like the soul of an elf that died, an elf mage, arcane warrior that died, and it wants you to release it, basically, to give it a blip, to destroy it.
Yeah.
I found an altar that says something can be placed here, but I never found the thing
It's
that
like
can be
right
placed.
behind
it's
you
on the
when
floor.
you're looking at the altar. I had to use the tab key to highlight things I could interact with.
I'll go back because I've got some other
Yeah,
side quests
because
to do
so
here.
I had a specialization point for several levels that I have not been able to use, and I finally was able to use it and choose Arcane Warrior.
I sort of screwed up, although I don't think my character could become an arcane warrior anyway, but it was like, I'll teach
it's a
you.
mage class.
Yeah, it's like, I'll teach you how to be an arcane warrior. And I was like, I don't need anything for an act of mercy. And then I was like, wait, I sort of wanted something though. I was just saying that to sound cool. But I didn't get anything.
Oh.
So you can do all that. And then you finally come across a pool of water and your characters decide just to dive on in there, I guess.
Yeah, there's a weird cutscene that just like zooms into
Yeah,
it.
and you hear a splash, but they did not animate your characters actually swimming through the flooded ruins.
So is this like you swim through a room that's full of water, then go back up? Like, how does this make sense?
I guess
You're going
that
down.
must be what happens, because then you emerge in the part where the werewolves are hanging out. Swift Runner yet again is there, and he's like, okay, this time for real, I really just want to talk to you. Come meet our lady. And you're like, ooh, a lady. And
sexy lady.
what a lady she is.
Oh.
Their lady is a naked lady. She has long hair that covers her nipples. And then she has sort of grown some underwear made of branches for herself.
She's kind of got a Samara face and haircut.
And black eyes. And she's like, what's up? I'm the lady of the woods. I'm super great spirit, heckin' nice. I have found these werewolves and tamed them and made them heckin' nice werewolves for you to talk to and enjoy. And please bring Zatharin so we can convince him to lift the curse. And you're like, well, how come you attacked the village if you're so heckin' nice? And she's like, well, every year when the Dalish come, we send a letter inviting him to come and talk to us so he can lift the curse, and he never comes. So we didn't really have a choice.
I really messed up by not getting the werewolves on my side. I'm really upset about it.
Oh, well, you could reload a save, I suppose. Have you romanced anyone yet, Matt?
No, not really. I gave Alistair his mother's necklace, and I gave Morgan the grimoire. The black grimoire.
I bet they were both into those gifts.
Yeah, and I went to camp. It took me a while to figure out how to give it. You can't give them gifts when you're in camp, which is the dumbest fucking thing.
What are you talking about? Yes, you can.
How?
You open your inventory, and then you can use the toggle arrows to switch between characters. Like at the top
Not
of the
in camp.
inventory. Yes, you can.
I cannot
Yes, you can.
switch between characters in camp.
You can.
Yeah,
you
no,
just don't know
only
how.
Only in your inventory screen. Only in the inventory screen.
Go to inventory
Yeah, or
screen,
character.
and then above the portrait of the character, there are arrow keys, and you can switch to a different character, and then drag the gift to that character.
Or you right click on the gift when that character is selected in the portrait, and then you can. There's the gift icon.
I think I tried that. I think you're lying to me.
No, I
Why
swear.
would we lie to you about this?
I don't know. Why does John lie to me about everything? He told me that his name was John, not Jonathan. He's a liar.
That's not his name.
Not.
I know. His name is Jean.
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 So, did
Jean
you
Valjean.
talk to, what's his name? Zanerathan? Zalriel?
Zatharian.
Did you talk to Zatharian's, like, second in command? The lady, her name was, like, Linnea or something?
And she had told me that something had happened to Zatharian's family.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, why don't you tell me more about that? She's like, forget I said anything?
Yeah, and then I asked him about it, and he was like, the werewolves destroyed my family.
And she was an interesting character, because she's not Dalish. She is a city elf who got, bad stuff happened to her. She got rescued by Zatharian, and he, trained her up to be, like, super powerful mage lady. And
she's cool.
Anyway.
So,
I like
agreed to go get Zatharian. Happily, I didn't have to go very far. You just kind of walk to the next room, and he's already there.
Yeah, I was real psyched about this.
Yeah,
this was good.
Very considerate of the game, not to make you go all the way back and bring him all the way back. And he's like, "Oh, did you get the heart? I know you didn't. You suck. I hate you."
Yeah, he's a real dick. He was real nice at camp and like, I need help. But then once you get here, he's like, whatever, jerks.
Yeah. He says, hey, that lady is Witherfang. And you're like, what's the deal? Come on, tell me. And he says, well, okay, so these stupid shem, they killed my children. And so I turned them into werewolves by summoning this spirit that I put into the body of a white wolf, and that became Witherfang / the lady.
Witherfang.
But he's
Witherfang.
not sorry.
No, he is not.
He thinks it was just the very most appropriate thing to do to get his revenge. He nevertheless agrees to go with you, and he was like,
well, you can talk him in. Either he says he's going to go with you and you're just going to kill them, or he's going to go, you can navigate some dialogue trees to get him to say, all right, I'll talk, but I think it's a waste of time. Or, I think there's some persuade options, but this time I didn't try to persuade since I'm so bad at it.
yeah, I did convince him to come and just like talk and see what we could work out.
Me too.
I did the same
thing. What about
thing.
Matthew?
No, I did the same thing. I wasn't very nice to him, but I was like, you need to come and talk to these people.
Yeah.
I told him that I would protect him unless he attacked them first.
Me too.
I told him I didn't think it would come to that.
Oh.
And he was like, fine.
You were wrong.
Yeah, because they had their conversation. The lady just wants the curse lifted, and he's like, well, if I lift the curse, you're gonna die. And she's like, if you lift the curse, you're gonna die. Because turns out it was this curse that is keeping him alive for hundreds of years, not some...
He actually lied.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you betrayed your elf people.
Yeah. He lied to them all the time. He doesn't care. He is still, like, super into revenge, and he's like, these humans are just stupid, snarling beasts. I hate them. They're gross. I hate them. So I tried to convince him to lift the curse, and he just would not do it. And he decided to fight.
Oh, my.
So I fought him.
And...
Is this what happened with you as well, John?
Yeah.
And you, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told him, like, I think at the very end, I think he kept being a jerk about it, and finally I was like, you're either gonna do it or I'm gonna make you do it, motherfucker.
Yes.
And then he attacked.
This fight, super hard, except if you go down a hallway, there's a door that trees can't get through.
Oh.
Then you can, like, shoot arrows and magic at them, and it's great. Strongly recommend 10 out of 10.
I did not have a problem with this fight at all. I beat Zetharian's face off of his body, right off of his body and into the pavement, and all of his tree friends died.
Mm-hmm. I concentrated on him, and as soon as he was dead, everyone else was dead too.
Unfortunately, he used his, like, magic powers to cast like a hold spell on most of the werewolves.
Oh, no.
So they were not attacking with us. They're, like, frozen, which is a bummer. And it looks like there is an alternate version of this boss encounter where you are fighting the lady and the werewolves instead.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The option early on, before we agreed to go meet Zetharian and ask him to come talk, it did offer you the option that I wish I would have taken, which was you could try to persuade them to just say fuck it and kill Zetharian and all the elves.
Oh, wow.
I really wish I had done that.
Then you can have an army of werewolves.
Yes,
in the
then
end.
you get an army of werewolves instead of an army of elves. And you know what?
That seems way better.
Fuck those elves. Werewolves are cool as shit.
Yeah, I helped him fight. Well, I fought him, and then he was like full of regret. He was not dead. So I just talked to him, and I'm like, okay, really, for real this time, please lift the curse, please. And he's like, okay, really, for real this time, I'll do it.
He made it sound like it was going to be this complicated ritual, but then all he had to do was smack his staff on the ground.
Yeah. And then his life drains away. The lady's life drags away.
She
Yeah,
kind of
like,
bursts into
bursts,
flame or
yeah.
something, or like red light.
Yeah.
A pillar of light.
But she's cool with it.
was
She
fun.
wanted to end
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, she had some weird dialogue at one point where she's like, I've loved and cried and laughed and tasted. The world is beautiful and all I want is to die.
Ooh, I really you should read more of her
Yeah,
dialogue.
that was beautiful.
Great. Thank you.
So yeah, it's sort of like, they're tired and then all the werewolves turn back into humans.
Yeah, with like werewolfy
Yep,
eyes.
and they're like, we are human again. We are human again. Just like the song from Beauty and the Beast.
And so every time like we get a group of people like this, I want to have the option to be like, hey, now that I saved you, can you come join my Grey Wardens? And you never get that option.
Yeah, they won't do it. They're going to go find some other humans and live with them. They still got them yellow eyes, so they'll probably face some prejudice.
Why didn't we offer to make them to have them come become Grey Wardens? I guess with the Grey Warden, like half of them, like most of them would die anyway, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. But they could like help out.
Well, I
mean, it's kind of awful to be like a Grey Warden recruiter when you really stop and think about the fact that you are going to be responsible for a lot of these people's deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a thread on our Facebook group, a post about how Duncan's a sociopath, which I did mention before that I think he's a sociopath.
Yeah. Well, I had a dialogue with Alistair talking about making more Grey Wardens, and he sort of doesn't know how to do it, he says.
Oh.
So he seems like unclear.
What are you talking about? All you had to do is drink Darkspawn blood.
Well, he's not sure if that's all there is to it, or if he needs to do
like
something
a pinch
else.
of pepper in there.
Yeah. Or a spell that Duncan did or something. So
I mean, it is possible that they just dose you with an absolute ton of LSD, and that's what being a Grey Warden really is.
So
Darkspawn, werewolves. This whole game is just one
you're
long
hearing
trip.
a dragon in your head. Of course you are.
So
Wait,
I think that's the deal with that. But I went back to the elf village. I was like talking to that
you did.
other lady. She seemed fine with the fact that Zetharian's gone. I mean, she's sad.
Yeah, she didn't seem to care. I don't think I told her all the details either. I was like, he was a real hero.
Yeah.
But really, he was a
Me
real
too.
piece of shit.
I said he was a hero in the end. She seemed to kind of know.
Yeah, I think she got the gist of what was going on.
And that's that.
The end. Finn. That's it for Elf Town.
Yep.
And next week we're doing Dwarf Town, right?
That's right.
Dwarf Town.
So
this is a longish one too, right? This is all the deep roads.
Yeah, we're going to get deep into Dwarf Town.
Well, I don't,
Plunge into those deep roads.
think there were any mini games, were there, John?
Not really. I mean, the closest thing is the puzzle with like, put the thing down, sip the water. But that's more of a puzzle.
Yeah, that's not a mini game.
I played a mini game.
What?
It was
Ooh.
called Come to My Tent, and I played it with Alistair.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we were just,
Guess I got laid.
Did you
having
did
a
you get
nice
reunited
talk,
with his seed?
And I was like, hey, you want to come to my tent? And he's like, okay.
And I had established with him before that he is a virgin.
He is a virgin. You talk about
What a
that.
dork.
He talks about how he really wants to go to the tent, but he's very nervous and he feels like really awkward and clumsy about it. But you can sort of just encourage him and be like,
Is that what it's called, Vanessa? Encourage?
yeah, you can encourage him with like,
With pressure as his boss?
yeah, with pressure as his boss.
Yikes.
You can tell him, look, come to the tent or you're out of the Grey Wardens.
Wait, how did you... Should he be the leader of this? Oh, no, he says he doesn't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah,
be
he
leader
says
of
he
this whole
doesn't
thing.
want to, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, nope, you're in charge.
He's a dork.
And then he eventually said that he's willing to give it a try.
Not
if
cool,
I was
Vanessa.
willing.
This is really not cool. But go on.
And then I was like, yeah, I'm willing. And then you get a cutscene of them in the tent. He does not appear to have figured out how to take off my warden character's bra, which I guess speaks to his inexperience. So she just keeps that on while they do what they're doing. And then it ends with a lingering shot of him watching her sleep. John's favorite thing. So,
Ugh.
and then it kind of cuts to the next morning, and he's like, yeah, people are going to talk, you know. And I was like, I don't care. And he's like, that was really nice. Thanks for that. Bye. That was it. That's our love story.
Wow. Is that like the end of the romantic arc,
Of course not. They're still together.
Okay. Okay, phew.
But that's the story of my mini game and how I defeated Alistair's mini boss.
All right, well, now is the part of the episode where we talk about what we were squarely against this time. And John, why don't you kick us off, fella?
I am squarely against the cheaty items that max
Cheaty
out.
is great, and how dare you? Plus, did you see the episode where he took his shirt off? Ladies love that.
I did see that.
So, you can just not use them. You can just not buy them from Bodan. And they do have ones that ruin your relationship with someone, so you can see what that's like. That's pretty funny. Cause there's like opposite items that people hate. Like you could give Morgan a book of chantry prayers that pisses her off.
You can give Zevran a chastity belt.
There's, the item that maxes out your relationship with, Leliana is called Fat Loot, and it's a loot she can put down on the floor and play.
Oh,
It's kind of fun. It's cute.
it's great.
And it's real fat. But yeah, don't use those. They kind of wreck the balance and the progression of the game a little bit. But
What are
if you don't care, you
what are
don't
the
care.
ones that max out the relationship?
It'll say like the ones that they're ones Bodan sells that say like who it's for.
Oh,
and
really?
What it does. Yeah.
I'm probably not going to fuck with that.
I did for a couple characters, but I've played this game so many times without them that I didn't feel that bad about it. Although, probably my relationship with Alistair progressed a little bit faster than it's supposed to for the pacing of the story.
Right. Yeah.
What are you squarely against, Matt?
I'm squarely against how I fucked up and didn't kill the elves and befriend the werewolves. I'm glad that I got to help the werewolves. I liked the werewolves. I liked the designs of the models. I liked the crazy witch lady. I liked the backstory of the curse. This was a good arc. And throw in Tom Bombadil Tree in there, and it was a real fun little area. But I fucked up because I wanted to have a werewolf tribe at my disposal. What about you, Vanessa?
I'm roundly for Grand Oak, the rhyming oak tree.
He was delightful.
He was delightful. He was great. I'm really glad that he got his seed back. And I wish that I could have spent some more time with him, just like sitting in his branches, getting to know this tree and trading sick rhymes. Maybe we could do a rap battle.
I enjoy this type of fairy tale kind of nonsense stuff. I think more games should lean into this and less into the, bloody baron that murdered his family.
Yeah.
Have we got a
Side
game
quest.
publisher for you, Matthew?
Yeah, if you like fairy tale whimsy, you might want to check out a little series called King's Quest.
I've played the King's Quest games. I don't know why you think I haven't. I had a PC in the fucking 90s.
The Lost Chapters, or the New Chapters, or whatever. Play them all.
All right. Do you wanna go into an email?
Yeah, we finally have a little bit time to read some email. Here's one.
How about I read the first one and you read the second?
The second one's so
Or do you wanna read-
long. Okay, I'll read the second.
Okay, I'll read the
do
second
it.
one.
You read the first one.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, Jom. That's not my name. Wow.
Say your own name, John. It's written correctly in the email.
Hey, John, Jim, Matthew, and Vanessa. Bob here. 6-month listener, first-time writer. Anywho, I seem to ask this in the Facebook group from time to time when I'm playing a game, but I thought in writing might be a better way. What, to you, qualifies a game as an RPG? Thank you for the weekly dose of entertainment. Bobby.
That's a great question. Especially in this age of genre mix-em-up, mash-em-ups. I would say that an RPG involves a character or characters that develop in skills in some way, and in a way that's controllable by the player. I don't think you can have an RPG that doesn't have some kind of leveling or increase in skill element.
Right.
An RPG has characters?
Sometimes. Not always.
Name an RPG that doesn't have a character.
Wizardry?
I don't know what that is.
Well, I just mean like old schooly dungeon crawly
where
ones.
it's just like wizard.
I guess they do have characters, but they're like, it's more about fighting monsters and getting through the dungeon.
Yeah.
Everything's an RPG these days. They're all RPGs. Like, I know that it makes people don't like that, but it doesn't make it not true. Like, you don't need to gatekeep the hell out of what an RPG is so that it defines only your favorite types of games. Like, fucking Madden is an RPG these days, my friends. I'm sorry, but it is.
It is. It's a turn-based strategy,
Have
really.
you ever played MLB The Show? It's a RPG. You have a character. You create the character. Hell, MLB The Show, they'll read the goddamn name. Like, as long as it's not too wild, the thing can say your name for you. It's great.
Like, if you think about, say, Horizon Zero Dawn versus The Witcher 3, there's not that much difference in the way that the games work.
No, there's not.
I mean, I guess there's no, but that's the point that I was trying to make. Like, sure, I don't think Horizon has skill points, but skill points aren't what define an RPG. I mean,
but it does.
If you have a skill tree, you're progressing, your character's progressing, that's an RPG.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess, you're saying that, like, skill points, like stats.
Like stats.
Does,
But I'm saying like skill attribute points. Not every game has that, but that doesn't mean, you don't have to have that for an RPG.
Right.
You don't have to have anything.
That's true.
It's a game where you take over a role and, your character progresses and grows stronger as you go.
Yeah.
Well, for the sake of this show, why are we choosing some games and not others?
Oh.
That is my question. So why are we going to play, say, The Witcher, which has action RPG combat, but not Zelda? Is it because Link, he gets new items, but you don't really change him?
I don't see why we couldn't play a Zelda for this show.
Okay.
None of us have a Nintendo console.
Yeah.
I would love to do Ocarina of Time for this show. That would be delightful.
I have all the Nintendo
Well,
consoles.
not me.
Vanessa doesn't.
Yeah.
And Jim's only got a Switch. We had an episode, we had a season where neither of them were on the show, John. Why didn't we do a fucking Zelda? Would have been the perfect time.
That's true. That is true. And the term is earload.
I would say that some things certainly aren't RPGs, like a platformer is not an RPG, a game that's just like the sprite going along, jumping onto platforms and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A driving game? Except for driving a motion type S.
But what about a driving game with like
RPG?
skills that you upgrade?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Driving a motion type S is a car PG. And I guess Forza does have some of that. And you could think of the races as battles, but let's not.
No, I mean, we don't have to get too broad. You're right. I mean, technically you can call any of these games an RPG, but I think it's pretty simple. And I'll tell you this. What is the quote?
I know it when you see it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which Supreme Court justice was that?
Probably one
Roberts?
of the shitty ones. Definitely the reason that we choose the games that we choose for this series is because these games are, by definition, their genre is RPG. I can call Madden an RPG and not technically be wrong, but it is still not an RPG. It's a sports game.
Good point. Moving on. Yeah, this was a long one.
Do we want to skip this? It's 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
Don't you have to be
I gotta
done?
go.
We've been recording for a while. Let's save this one for next week.
Okay, we'll save the long one for next week.
But I will read some Patreon names. Here I go.
Nope. We have to plug the Patreon first.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Patreon. What is a Patreon now?
We have a great Patreon that you can subscribe to get some sweet bonus episodes, as well as the ability to help us pick what games we're going to play in the future for both the main series and the bonus episodes.
I am playing through a game called Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4 for the next Instant Classic episode, where we decide whether or not Spider-Man is an Instant Classic game. And this is available to any $3 patron or more.
Oh, I need to start playing that.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, Spider-Man is what we're doing for February. I think all 4 of us are going to be involved. We're all really excited. I've already played it, but I didn't finish it. I got to the very end and then moved on to something else. I think God of War distracted me, so I'm excited to finally finish it and get a chance to talk about it. And I guess we don't want to push the Patreon too hard. It's been kind of stagnant for a while, so guys, get out there and register on Patreon or spread the word.
Yeah, tell your friends about the podcast. Tell your rich friends about the podcast.
Yeah, if you have any friend who's like wearing a lot of gold or has a mansion,
who wears like a monocle and a top
RPGs.
hat, and they're like,
"Ooh, all this money, what shall I do with it?"
If your friend looks like Monopoly Man, tell him about our podcast.
Look, tell your nerd friends about our nerd podcast and maybe talk to them about contributing to the Patreon too. Or just tell them about the podcast and then they'll hear about it when we plug the Patreon like we're doing right now.
I like that. I like that way. Although, if you have their phone. No.
Anyway,
that's fraud.
One of the benefits of being a patron is that we read the whole list of patrons at the end of each episode, and we're going to do that right now. Vanessa.
Aaron Bachman, Andrew Fugwidicatol Andrew Granary, Andy Best, Artie Pavlov, Ashley T.
He is the best.
Bad Dragon Dildo Sponsorship Program.
Yay!
Benjamin Avner, Bobby
Finally.
Midkiff, Brady A. Berman, Bree Girth, Brian Pitt, Brian Stone, Brody Choi, Cameron Cho, Calmaine Mosser, Chris Penyak,
Calmaine.
Cyril the Wolf, David Shear, David Green, David Shook, Devin Sloan, Enchantment. Eric Garvey, Florian Jonas Kramer, G. Bailey, George Armbuster, Go Cry Wolf, Gregory, Huxley Iguana, isn't a particularly big fan of...
That's
Jake Dickerson.
Aw,
Huxley.
Yeah,
Why
that's
don't
super
you like
rude,
Jake?
Huxley?
Wow. I can't believe Jake Dickerson is so nice.
So somebody changed their name to isn't a particularly big fan of and subscribed to our Patreon.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure how to react to that, but thank you. Also, thank you to Jake Dickerson, James Hostetler, James Platt, Jonathan Ellsworth, Jonathan Lee, Joseph A. Rogers, Julian Zanella, Julian Titus, Justin Benoit, Justin Ham, Vanessa's mom, Crystal Thamrin, Label Sack, Matt Jorgensen, Megan Sullivan, Miguel Torres, and Mon Mothma's Mandalorian Marmalade makes Maz Money, a.k.a. Dr. Steve Stone.
Nathan Poirot, Owen Marble, Patrick W. Bears, PJ Enns, Erace Jenkins, Randy Pierce, Resty Kamada, Robert M. Pullum, Robert T., Ross Hartley, Ryan Miller, Sam Harrison, Samu Mitchell, Sean Walsh, Square Root Suicide Squad. I don't know about that one. Stu Skeel,
The
Tom,
Suicide
Tracy
Squad.
Tanoff,
Tom from
Tyler
MySpace?
Petty, Vanessa's mom, Ward Childress, Wonderswan, X Xavier, X Krieger, Zachary Davis, and I am so happy that Bad Dragon has finally sponsored us.
We've been
Me
waiting.
too. Waiting on the check.
Yep. Now I'll just be.
Ladies and gentlemen, send us an email.
Oh.
Our email address is squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. If you don't like to email, but you just want to be a Facebook pal, you can find us at the Square Roots group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or you can tweet
Or
at
as
us.
I like to call it, the only reason I have a Facebook account anymore.
Aw.
Or you can tweet at us at Square Roots Pod.
Thanks to Edward Alenko for his cover of Leliana's song. You can find him on YouTube or at facebook.com/EdwardMusic. And links to this and more are in the show notes. And rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes and, take or wherever you listen to podcasts and take a screenshot because no one's done this in months. And I ask you every week, because I want to level someone up because it's fun. I might have to retire this and think of a new thing if you guys stop doing it. I tell you.
I mean,
I like
are
the reviews.
Are you legit right now? You might have to if they stop. We've had one in the last year. Probably time to give up the ghost on that little gimmick. It's not working.
Wait, what's a ghost?
No, nothing. Nothing.
Okay.
Don't worry
Don't
about
worry
it.
about
Okay.
it. None of us are ghosts.
All right.
We promise.
No.
That's just what a ghost would say.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's it, guys, for the Square Roots podcast. I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I am John Brandon.
Hey guys, it's me, Jim. I'm finally here, ready to record.
Heidi ho, listeners.
Fuck you, Jim.
Aww.
Jim's a sensitive
He
boy.
is a sensitive boy.
Jesus Christ. You are monsters. You know that?
How dare you mock a host like that?
And I'm Vanessa. Bye.
Bye.
Shit.
Yeah.
Superman's dead.
Wait, it's not, that's the song where I still think he says shoot above a man's head, and he doesn't. Can we pause for 1 second while I
Sure.
Thank you.
Pee time.
There he goes. Walking off to pee. Oh no. Oh, good. He shut the door. The angle there could have, that could have ended the podcast right about now.
Bye guys, it's me, Jim. Bye.
It's not easy being tall.
Having to duck when I walk into a door. Having to reach things other people can't reach from a drawer.
I find cars are too small.
It's not easy being tall.
I think us being overly nice to Jim and mean to Matt is my favorite running joke now.